You're listening to Retro Rewind with Dave Harris. One-on-one.
Retro Rewind.
I guess I'm under the impression that you're allowing fans to copy or distribute or perform the album songs, so long as they use them in a non-commercial and properly credited, of course. This is a big topic for a lot of artists and labels and stuff. How did you arrive at your decision to do this?
Well, there's a thing called Creative Commons, and it's the first time it's really happened. I mean, they've been around for a good few years now, but what they did was they got a bunch of effectively music business legal scholars together and created a legally binding contract that you can just download for free. And it's very simple. I mean, the whole problem with when you give permission to use songs or other people want to use your songs is the steps they have to go through to do it, which is a record company, whoever it may be. I mean, in this case with my solo album, I own it, so it's a bit different. But I'd rather say to people up front, this is how you can use it. As the amount of emails I used to get of, can I use it for my high school graduation? Can I use it for this documentary I'm doing, which we're not making money of? So I'd rather set the rules up front and let people know, which is what Creative Commons allows you to do. It's simply you can go to creativecommons.com and you can find out what you can do with my record, and basically you can do anything you like as long as you're not making money from it. And if you're and it's credited to me. If you're making money, obviously that's a different thing. But if people are using it not for profit, then as long as they credit where the music came from, then it's fine. It really doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's really, contracts a lot of the time are really to stop people profiting off of something you own. And if in this way, it's just saying, as long as you don't profit, you can use it.
Okay. And of course that could help your music. It's a promotional tool.
No, absolutely. And also it seems silly that, I read stories about people that were doing, like documentaries in high school and using someone's music and getting sued by a record company. What's the point? They're not making money. And all they're doing is actually promoting the artist in the end anyway. But they were being sued because record companies were very protective of what they own. And it made no sense to me. So I wanted to set the ground rules from the get-go with this new record.
And not a lot of people are doing this, so maybe you're starting something that's something that will happen and become popular down the road.
Well, I would hope so, because it seems that it's such a simple thing, because Creative Commons, it doesn't cost you anything to do it. You can go there, and literally it will give you a form, and you can click on the bits you permit, click on the bits you don't, and then it will download the license for you, and you can print it. And it's so easy, and it doesn't cost you any money. You don't have to hire a lawyer for it. It makes the whole system a lot simpler, so it would make sense for most people to go to Creative Commons and realize what they do.
And we'll come back to this here in a minute about a song of yours that's going to be used in ER. I just found out today.
Which?
Mad World.
Oh yeah. See that? But then we don't own that. So.
Oh, you don't have.
We don't own the masters for it. So with a song that we did with a record company, if we don't own the masters, then they have to go to them to get permission to use the master.
Okay.
So that's different. When you own your own masters, it's a different thing.
Right.
With me right now, I own my own masters. With the Last Tears record, Everybody Loves a Happy Ending, we own those masters. Okay. So these are things owned by us.
So you're talking about the sync license, basically, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if it's an older record that is on a record label, then yeah, you got to go through all the trouble of trying to get their permission, and they'll ask for a ton of money, none of which will come back to us.
Well, I will tell you, since we've kind of touched a little bit about it, my best friend is one of the stars on ER, Scott Grimes, and he's a huge fan of yours and Roland's. And I told him I was coming out tonight, and he says, how weird is this? Tomorrow I'm singing Mad World on I guess it's going to be like a Groundhog's Day kind of episode, where every day one of these characters wakes up and it's different every single day or something, and he's going to have a go at it tomorrow. And he might be able to get close to you. I don't know. He's a pretty good singer, but you sang that one well.
Tonight was actually good. Tonight's version of it was very good. It was a lot tenderer than we normally do it. But that's the joy of doing these intimate gigs, is that tonight, I don't know, it was different tonight, and it worked really well because I think we were all in kind of a lower key mood, and a lot of the times that's played a lot harder, and tonight we didn't, and and also it's a good thing about me working with Charlton and Doug, the guitarist and keyboard player I work with, and we played together for 15 years, so we're always searching for like a different way, and both of them together were like just really down tonight. And it worked great. So those are the joys of doing this kind of thing.
I loved it. Larry was telling me about it tonight, how much he enjoyed it. Of course, it's the mood. It's all about mood and moment. It was really good. Curt, another question I have is many artists these days are releasing their own tribute albums, the songs, and things they love from the past. First of all, would you ever consider doing one like that? And what songs might you cover? You did "Yellow" tonight by Coldplay, which
I did "Yellow." I mean, to be honest, it really always depends on. I mean, I couldn't do it for the sake of just doing songs. If they don't suit your voice, what's the point? And if you don't do them differently, again, what's the point? Because you can't. If you love these songs, to do them the same way would be defeating the object. It just means you love the original, and and you can't replicate that. I mean, the only way to do those kind of things is to make them a bit different. Yeah, I mean, I've considered it at times. I mean, like "Yellow," as you mentioned tonight, which I love. I mean, but I do it, so differently to the way Coldplay would do it. So I think that, at some point I might, but it would depend on how many songs I can get together to make an album and make them your own. I mean, the key is to make the song your own, as opposed to just doing a cover of someone else's song.
Right, and being in radio, playing Coldplay's song back in '01, you did make it your own. I at first I didn't know what it was until the lyrics came out.
Most people don't, because it's so different. But that's the point. I can't copy anyone else's emotion, and also, as I mentioned before, the song, to me, it's a song about my kids, whereas I'm sure the original version wasn't, obviously, because Chris didn't have any kids at that point in time. So it was a love song. So it really depends on the emotion and what it means to you, and if you can do it in a fashion that makes it yours, then it makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your new CD, the title of the new album, Halfway Pleased. Now, to me, that would seem to indicate that you're happy with where you are in life. Would you say the same?
Yeah. I mean, I've said a few times, like happy. I don't know whether I'd use happy as opposed to content, which is probably a more accurate description. The album, there's a track on the album called Halfway Pleased, which is the other side of it. I love wordplay. So Halfway Pleased can be one of those things, which is the song title, which is about my mother. I'm halfway pleased. Whereas as the album title, it's halfway, pleased. Comma being important, and the halfway meaning I'm halfway through life, and I'm pleased about where I'm at. So, I would say I'm pretty content where I am. Yeah.
Well, this album's a slight departure from the Mayfield album from '98, which I really loved, by the way. And I think at the time you helped. I was managing the outfield. You helped us get hooked up with, I think, Zero Disc at the time. We followed your lead on that. But now you started this album back in 2000, right? And then you kind of put it on hold because you and Roland got back together, and then you revisited it a few years ago, right?
I think I started. Trying to think of when I started the writing process. The writing process must have been 2000, because 2, which is about my then 2-year-old daughter, had to be written in 2001. And then what happened was we were sort of halfway through writing and recording, myself and Charlton, and then Roland approached me to do another Tears for Fears record. So then it got put on the back burner because, we agreed to do a record together, and I had to devote my time to that. And then we did that, went on tour for a few years, and then I came back and finished the record, mixed it, I guess, a year and a half ago now.
Retro Rewind
with Dave Harris.
Retro Rewind. One on one.